Hello students, welcome to Daily English Homework. In this video, we're going to have a listening activity. We're going to listen to the Nigerian president, the Bola Tinubu. Of course, Nigeria speaks English. They're a country where one of their main languages is English. We're going to listen to his English and I'm going to comment on it, all right? This is an interview he did with the BBC. He did this last year, I think. It's not recent. Again, we're not really, I'm not really interested in his politics. Okay, so I'm not going to comment on that. I don't know enough to comment on that. I'm just going to comment on his English, good and bad, what I think. So let's listen to Bola Tinubu. I'm sorry if you're from Nigeria and I mispronounced that. I did my best. Let's listen to his interview. Now, he's being interviewed, I guess, from another African or Nigerian, but this interviewer seems to have studied in the UK, maybe, and studied in UK and then worked for the BBC, because his English is pretty good with a British influence. But let's focus on Bola Tinubu. Now I'm going to jump to, I think, the main question to him here.
This 8 years has come with a lot of pain and a lot of suffering.
All right. So again, that's the interviewer. His English is great. I have no problem with his English, but let's get into the president's English.
You are coming from the same perspective as President Muhammad Buhari, and you're members of the same political party. You helped bring him in to office nearly 8 years ago. What are you going to do different? Why should Nigerians be voting for you?
Because I'm different. I am Bola Tinubu.
Great. Bola Tinubu. That's as close as I can get. He says his name. But we can tell right away his speech is not as clear as the interviewer, but I understood what he said until now. Let's go back, listen again.
What are you going to do different? Why should Nigerians be voting for you?
Because I'm different. I am Bola Tinubu.
All right, because I'm different. I got exactly what I said, or what he said, so communication is perfect so far.
I have governed Lagos. I built a model state that could be a country on its own.
All right, so his voice is very deep, I guess, probably like all Africans in that area, whether they're speaking English or their local language. I'm just generalizing here. I have not been to that part of the world, but hearing other people from Nigeria and African countries, they seem to have a very deep voice when speaking their local language and English. Not a problem. That's okay.
Lagos. I built a model state that could be a country on its own.
Okay, I'm understanding him up until now. I built, like Lagos is the city in Nigeria. I built a model state that could be a country on its own. I understand him perfectly.
I've led an administration that is so prudent. From 600 million internally generated revenue to 5 billion a month.
Okay, he seems to have a great vocabulary. He's using words like prudent, revenue. He's got academic vocabulary, but I am getting a little lost in what he's saying. I'm going to go back.
So prudent.
So prudent.
From 600 million internally.
From 600 million
generated revenue.
He's losing me. What he says, he's saying numbers there. He's 600 million, and then he says something. It kind of loses me. I'm not understanding his pronunciation.
From 600 million internally generated revenue.
I didn't get what he said. 600 million something revenue. If you know what he said, put it in the comments, because I didn't know what he said. Let's listen to one more time.
Prudent. From 600 million internally generated revenue
I didn't get that.
to 5 billion a month.
There's some people yelling in the background. That's not in my house. That's in his video. So 600 million in revenue to 5 billion a month. I think I'm summarizing what he's trying to say.
So prudent. From 600 million internally generated revenue to 5 billion a month. That's a record. Nobody else can brag about that. I've treated and tamed the Atlantic Ocean surge in
Okay, I didn't get what he said there.
nobody else can brag about that.
Nobody can brag about that. Got that. No problem for my ears.
I've treated and tamed
Attempted and tamed. I'm not sure what he says there. His pronunciation is very thick.
Nobody else can brag about that. I've treated and tamed the Atlantic Ocean surge in
Atlantic Ocean sewage?
tamed the Atlantic Ocean surge in Nigeria that will have perished many people in Lagos.
Okay, kind of lost me there. So his, to me, a Canadian, listening to the Nigerian accent, it's pretty strong, it's pretty thick, it's pretty deep. He seems to understand and speak English fluently. I'm not saying he doesn't speak English. It's just, it would probably take me a little more time to adjust to the Nigerian accent. I don't think he represents all Nigerians, of course, because he does have a certain way of speaking, which is itself not clear. So his natural way plus the accent makes it very difficult to understand him when he's speaking English. But he seems to be fluent. He knows what he's talking about. He understands the interviewer's questions, and he's using great vocabulary. The content of what he says, his answers, is something you can debate about. But again, we're not doing that in this video. All right, I got to get to the homework. And the homework is at the end here of the video. The interviewer is going to ask a question, blah, 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 blah. And then the interviewer is going to say the word why. And your homework is to tell me what Bola Tinubu says for an answer. All right, so let's get to that question here. This is your homework. You're being really tested on your listening skills with this one, I think.
I think you've kind of explained that, and we don't have much time. If you were not running for president, sir, you have two main opposition candidates, Abubakar Atiku and Peter Obi, who people are saying, is the young upstart, and I mean that in a very positive way.
Young where?
Young upstart.
Have they been governor of Anambra?
All right, we're getting to it.
Anyway, Your Excellency, if you weren't running for president.
Okay, if your excellency, if you weren't running for president,
Which of your two major opponents would you be voting for?
which of your opponents would you be voting for?
None.
None.
Why not?
Okay, why not? All right, so the interviewer is going to ask, why not? Your homework starts here. Listen to his answer. Write it in the comment section below. Good luck. Here we go. I'll just play it here. I'll go back a little bit. When the interviewer says, why not? What's his answer?
None.
Why not?
Because they are not as competent as any other person out there.
All right. From that little answer is your homework. What did he say? Let's play it again.
Positive way.
Young where?
Young upstart.
Have they been governor of Anambra?
Anyway, Your Excellency, if you weren't
Okay,
running for president, which of your two major opponents would you be voting for?
None. And then the why not? And then you got to tell me his answer.
None.
Why not?
Because they are not as competent as any other person out there.
that little sentence or two sentences he says, that's your homework. What does he say? Write it in the comments below and I'll check it. Good luck with this homework. It's a little difficult, I know, but uh, again, this is someone speaking English and we need to understand him. He's trying to communicate to us and he's a president, so whatever he says is very, very important. So let me know what he says in the comments below.